Centers, Hancock's Neighborhood Market, and Perry's Floors and More. And at 8:04, good morning. Welcome to Tiger Talk.
Join Health First Community Health Center in celebrating National Health Center Week through August 18th. The national campaign raises awareness about the mission.
We'll stop that here, and we'll play that here in just a second. Didn't have a stop in there. Good morning. Jimmy Dyer here on Tiger Talk. Mr. Dyer is, of course, our Director of Transportation for Caldwell County Schools. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
The robot already has failed me, but maybe I failed the robot. I don't know, one way or the other. But certainly glad to have you here, and it's that time. Here we go again. You were just here sitting about a year ago, but it in a snap, it's back. And
time is flying, but we're ready.
Yeah, let's. Good morning, and Mr. Dyer is here to get us up to date on some of the transportation issues as we begin our students back to class tomorrow.
Yes, sir. First thing I want to tell everybody is look out for the big yellow bus and the flashing lights. That's number one. These kids, their safety, that's what we care about. We get them there safe. We get them home safe. It's been a good day.
That's right. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And, of course, we've got an incredible fleet of buses here. I know you all work hard. I say off-season, but, to maintain them, keep them maintained, and keep them safe for our kids, whether it's tires, engine repairs, all kinds of things, so that our kids can get to and from school in a safe manner. And, of course, we've got a few potential issues with traffic up toward the schools, and let's just kind of touch base on that. Of course, our ATC, our vocational school, going on a massive renovation, and a lot of construction going on. So tell us how that might work for opening day as cars are trying to navigate up through there.
We are sure hoping it's going to be normal. Mm-hmm. Now, you're going to have some bumps. You've got some gravel in the road, things like that, but the traffic flow is supposed to be the same way. They're going to do a little cleaning up, moving stuff out for us. After all of this is done, it's going to be a little sleeker, a little straighter back there. So, about October or so, it's going to be a whole lot better. But until then, people just going to have to bear with us.
Yeah, and just be patient. And, again, take your time through there because lots of activity up through that way. And they've, in fact, had a lot of building material around there because this is a major renovation. And, I know people have had a little bit of concern, with parking and different types of things up there. But I'm assured that Mr. Dyer and the Board of Education is making sure that those issues are going to be worked out. Tell us about the bus routes and what kids should be doing in the morning and parents to help those kids get on and off the bus safely.
Good deal, yeah. Things haven't changed a whole lot. I do have one new bus driver. That's on bus 591 that takes care of 293 North. That'll be Miss Chastity Valentine, replacing Mr. Brandon Hughes. Everybody else is the same. So for me, that's a good thing. We just need you to get your kids out there about 5 minutes early, be standing 10, 15 feet away from the road. And the key thing, just have them ready. Don't have them running down to the bus stop at the last minute. Set that alarm a little early. Get them out there. We'll pick them up and bring them in.
Right. And, of course, make sure, again, these things are on the road, and sometimes we just get a little lax and go, oh, there's a bus. But with those flashing lights come on, stop bars go down, you best be paying attention to it, and don't be on your phones or anything like that because it's serious business. You don't want to be passing a school bus or trying to get to work. Give yourself a little extra time possibly to get out.
Yeah, for sure. Last year we had 3 times more recorded people passing our stop arms than the year before, 3 times. I mean, our drivers are very cautious. They don't let the kids go across until they're absolutely sure the traffic has stopped. But our number one problem is the number one problem for everybody driving. It's texting.
Yeah.
So many times people, they don't even look up. And that is scary.
That is scary. And, of course, these drivers and folks that see these violations, they're gonna call them in, aren't they?
Absolutely. They give me the information about the vehicle that passed them. I take them to the county attorney, and it goes from there. It's not a good thing for you.
No, it's not. And and think about that. If you've had kids before, whether they're not on that bus or they've been on that bus, that's somebody's child. That is somebody's possibly husband and wife driving that bus. And the safety of our kids and the folks that are trying to get our kids to school safe is number one priority. So keep that in mind if you're out there, especially as you're making your morning and afternoon commute.
Right. Also, we were talking about what the parents can do, get them down there. Talk to your kids about getting on the bus and acting right and doing right. Distracted driving is not a good thing at all, and that's what happens whenever the kids get out of control. The driver has to address it. I want my drivers looking forward and driving and not having to worry about the kids behind them. So talk to your children. Talk to them about sitting in their seat, staying out of the aisle, keep the volume low. Just do right.
Yeah. How many buses do we have that have monitors that help the drivers?
We have 29 bus routes, and we have less than half with monitors.
Okay.
Part of that is because several of the people take their buses home with them, so transportation of a monitor is tough. But the biggest part is money. Transportation is not funded very well from the state. A lot lands in the lap of our board, and so it's a money thing.
No doubt about it. And you do the best you can with what you have.
Correct. And if the kids do right, we don't need a monitor.
That's exactly right. And I guess that's just determined by the driver and you and in consultation and determining what routes need monitors.
Correct.
That kind of thing.
I have one monitor that is a floater, kind of the long arm of the law. If I'm having issues, I put that monitor on that bus for a while. If the children will begin to act right, I move that monitor somewhere else.
Okay.
So,
do they have a badge? No,
they are the long arm of the law, though.
I'm just kidding. I got to make this light and fun in some way I can. On a serious note, recently up at our schools, we had active shooter training, and I know you wanted to maybe address that a little bit, but there's not a whole lot to say about it because it keeps everybody safe. Probably the less that's said about it. But,
correct. Yeah.
But I want you at least to address that because I think you were instrumental in getting that. And it's unfortunate that we have to even talk about things such as that. But being proactive concerning that is a good thing.
Correct. With the things that are going on in our schools today, it hit close to home last year with Marshall County. We did do an active shooter training at each school. The teachers were told what to do, how to do it, how to think differently. As you enter rooms, you're now thinking, if something were to happen, how do I take care of the children? Where do I put them? What's our quickest way out of here? It changed our thought process. They put us into situations, scenarios, and they dealt with it. So we are much more prepared. But it's like you said, I'm not going to tell a whole lot because the community just needs to know that we are better prepared, but we don't want the bad guys to know what we're doing.
Right.
So we're going to keep
But you're definitely being proactive in addressing it.
We are addressing it. That's a fact.
That's good stuff. Mr. Dyer, as we start the new year, I know everybody's excited. The staff, the administration. What else can you tell us about Caldwell County Transportation and what you do serving our students here in Caldwell County?
All right. One thing that I need to stress, it's our procedure that if your child is in the 3rd grade or below, we must see an adult. We must put eyes on an adult before we let that child off the bus to go to your house. So come to the door, come on down to the road, hug their neck, kiss their face, ask them how their day was. But we have to see an adult. Now, if they've got an older sibling, they can walk home with the older sibling. But third grade and below, by themselves, must have an adult. If not, we have to bring them back to school. Every year I'll have people go, well, I can meet them, on down the road. Well, that's not what the law says. The law says we have to take them back to school. So it's a pain for us and it's a pain for you. So just be there on time or be there early. Now, the second thing I want to tell you, the first 3 days of school, we start Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we will not leave the high school with the children headed to the routes until we know every single child is on the right bus. So we're probably going to we will run late, 10, 15 minutes. So don't get excited if your child is later than they were last year. You don't have to call in. We're not going to keep any of the kiddos, but we will run late. Happens every year the first 3 days. Then we get the kinks worked out, and we got it going on after that. But just know that we may be a little late, but be there early to get your children. I do want to shout out, Ty started out talking about the buses and good shape and tires and all that. I want to shout out for Bob Waters and Dustin Cash. They're the mechanics. They do a fabulous job, wonderful job. So when you see those guys, give them a pat on the back and tell them to keep up the good work.
Yeah, those guys work hard maintaining that fleet. And there's, like I said, you got 29 on the road, and big kudos and shout out to those guys because they keep the wheels rolling, and that's awesome. We're going to turn our attention for a second, and I know it's maybe a little early to talk about inclement weather, but that's always, I know, your favorite. But let's talk about what might happen as we turn our eyes to winter and some of the cold weather type transportation issues that you'll have, how the procedure works, and how that'll work.
Okay. If there is a weather forecast that isn't looking good, I get up about 3 o'clock. I head north of town. I go to Fredonia and Cresswell because that seems to get hit first. While I'm doing that, Bob and Dustin are heading south and west, and they're looking for snow. We're calling each other, we're radioing, telling each other what we see. I will talk to people in Lyon County, Trigg, Crittenden, asking what they see. Then, according to what happens, we call the superintendent, and we make a decision at that point. The worst situation I had last year, we had a flash freeze.
Yeah. Never
had a flash freeze before. I drove down Highway 70 toward Fredonia, and everything was good. Got me a little drink at the store, turned around, went down the same road, and it was slick. I almost slid in the ditch. It had turned to ice in about 15 minutes.
Yeah. I remember that well.
Those are pretty scary.
Yeah.
But those have been pretty clear cut. Those are basically pretty easy decisions. It's the one that catches unaware while we got the kids at school that we got to make a decision. Do we keep them or take them home?
Right.
Those are the tough ones. But the really tough ones are spring rains.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about, the spring rains and maybe severe weather.
Oh, those are the worst. Get a flash flood. Last year we had to take our kids through Lyon County to get them to Fredonia because every other direction was flooded. So that's no fun at all.
And those situations might arise from time to time. You might have kids at school, but I know we've dismissed early because of severe weather. I know, you get into these late fall, early winter, and sometimes it gets warmer. We've had some horrible severe weather during November. And I know sometimes, I think there's been very few, but we've had to dismiss due to a severe squall line or severe weather coming through. Is that going to be, I guess, by case basis? I know the Weather Service, we'll talk about this stuff 3 days ahead. There's this event that potentially will happen, and then everybody gets a little on edge, but understandably so. I mean, it's kids.
Oh, sure.
But
and every year I go to this winter weather workshop
Right.
that they put on, and you think winter weather, well, they spend 5 minutes on snow, and they pretty much tell us less than 24 hours out, they're guessing.
Yeah.
And then they spend the next hour and a half on
Severe weather.
tornadoes and those sorts of things. And
yeah,
so-
that's right. Because it can happen, right, in
Yeah.
the wintertime.
Right.
And West Kentucky's kind of famous for that. But, I know you work your tail off to keep these kids safe, to keep these buses rolling, and you've got a tremendous staff and the support of a solid board and an administrator. And so just good job for you all. 'Cause I know you take it very seriously and you work very hard, even in the months that school isn't in session, to get ready for the school year.
I do, and I like what I do. I really do. But I'm surrounded by wonderful people. My bus drivers, I put them up against anybody. And they don't just drive the bus. They love on you kids. They challenge you kids. I mean, they even help clothe kids. They do things that nobody knows except us, and they're the best.
Yeah, and it looks like that you do have a great bunch of drivers. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and summarize and wrap up here on Tiger Talk as the train comes through. And we'll be back here in just a moment on Tiger Talk at 8:20. Have Mr. Jimmy Dyer here. Here's our Transportation Director for Caldwell County Schools. Back in a moment on WPKY The Tiger.
Join Health First Community Health Center in celebrating National Health Center Week through August 18th. The national campaign raises awareness about the mission and accomplishments of America's health centers and the dedicated staff who bring health care to the medically underserved. We'll be celebrating at 1100 South Jefferson Street in Princeton on Wednesday, August 15th from 3 to 6 p.m. for free health screenings, homemade ice cream, prizes, and more. Check our website for additional location dates and times. healthfirstchc.net. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz is the place to shop for delicious homemade goodness. Hancock's makes their own fresh chicken salad, pimento cheese, salads, and a variety of mouth-watering desserts, sure to please your entire family. While at Hancock's, be sure to visit their meat department for the best selection of USDA choice meats in the area. Hancock's Neighborhood Market in Cadiz, hometown, homemade goodness, and the Hancock name you know and trust for quality for your family. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors and More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors and More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Quality brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. There's a reason why we say you can walk on our reputation. Come see Bill and Lucy at 127 West Market Street or call 270-365-9869.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk at 8:21. Mr. Jimmy Dyer, the Director of Transportation for Caldwell County Schools here. And as we wrap up, summarize, and look forward to tomorrow, a few last-minute tips. I know I've been reading some AAA tips back to school and all kinds of stuff, but mainly let's just keep these kids safe.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, if pretty much no matter what happens in between, if we are safe in the beginning and the day ends and everything's gone safely, it's a good day. It's a good day, yeah.
No doubt about it. And buses will be out rolling. What time do your routes here? What time do they start?
I've got a couple that leave at about 10 to 15 till 6. They go all the way out to the end of the county and then start picking up kids. So we got kids on there about 6:05, 6:10.
Right.
Yeah.
So be out early in the morning as it's the first day for students in Caldwell County schools. I know several districts have already started, but we get our day and week and our year underway tomorrow, and it ought to be a good day and a big day for you all. And I know the first few days, like Mr. Dyer said, especially in the afternoon, they're going to make sure all kids are on the correct buses. So if they're a little bit late on the way home for the next few days, that's a normal thing. So
that is, and it's all about getting the kids home as quick as we can, as safe as we can. So if we start out with the kids on the right bus, that'll take place.
And they are very good. If you need to know anything about bus routes or there's anything you need to know, they will get it to the media and where it needs to be so that you know exactly what's going on, especially when the potential for inclement weather arises and it might disrupt transportation. So
That's it.
All right. Well, have another great, safe year. I know your record, your safety record is exemplary, and you've got a good crew out there, and we know it's going to be a great year at Caldwell County Schools.
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
All right. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. That's Mr. Jimmy Dyer. Of course, he is our transportation director.